Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's time for AMA number 35, the one that follows the 03 against Shark and No Fear. I'm going to be trying to answer as many questions as possible, but of course there are some questions out there that would require me to create a conflict of interest. And from my position, of course, I need to protect the secrets of my team and I need to protect everyone involved. I can only speak on what is concerning me, and I need to be very careful with what I share. I hope you guys can have this professional understanding, because I'm not going to go out there and, spill all the beans. Nevertheless, if you have your own questions, or maybe your question wasn't answered, you can post them in the AMA number 36 post on the YamatoCannon subreddit. Please join us in our community on the Discord too. I'm active there. If you want to play a chess game or just chat shit, you can just hop in and do that. It would also mean a great deal to me if you guys can leave a comment and maybe like or dislike. It's weird how YouTube works because they just want interactions. They just want you to click. If you click anything, that is fantastic for me. That's the only thing you want. And then I can make these videos, I guess, ad-free. Because honestly, it doesn't matter. Ads or not ads, I'm just happy that you're here to watch. Let's jump into the damn questions. First question, no shame at Reddit, 9 days ago. You explained to us the high activity, low accuracy versus low activity, high accuracy playstyles. Why does Fnatic play high activity and constant feels the need to implement a play that if it isn't 100% accurate, the game will be lost? The triple kill for Koki last game Schalke could have been easily avoided. Yes, but the psychology of the team at that point was in a rough spot already. We lost 2 games in a very poor fashion, so the need to take every opportunity was definitely felt. I think we tried to operate at a way higher level than we were capable of. We tried to break the rules before we really took the time to learn the basics. So this was a very, very humbling series for us, and there's a lot to learn for us. And I think in the pursuit of, finding the perfect balance between high activity and also very high accuracy, this is something that takes a lot of time and effort. And I can, of course, admit that this is not the product that any of us at Fnatic wanted to have. Number 2, how secure is your job now? Fnatic has ended so lower than the 5 last years. I think anything can happen. It was the same thing with Vitality, right? They chose to go with Duke and they told me very late, and that's just a part of the job. I'm going to live my life in a way where I commit my flesh and my blood to the project that I'm working on, because I think this is the only way that you care enough to try to embody everything that is happening and literally, do your best to improve and follow along the principles of what the organization stands for. So, on that end, you never know what's going to happen. But I believe, unless I'm really, really silly and, I've misread many signals, I think I'm in good standing with the management that would take such a decision. But I, as a person, I never take anything for granted. Third, spring split doesn't matter. Well, think of it this way. Imagine we won spring split and then we ran into, the issues that we ran into in spring and summer. That would have been a lot worse. So no, there's something. So yeah, spring split doesn't matter. It's all about our form for summer, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned already. Blues227 wrote a huge paragraph. For years, we as fans hear from the outside that there are issues inside Fnatic. Every single split, I thought you would be able to fix them. I had huge faith in you, and at this point the only players that are there for years are Whip1, Hilly, and maybe Selfmade. How can the org still believe in these players when every time they fail to deliver and have synergy issues and so on? I don't think Niski or Upset had issues with the team atmosphere and synergy ever before. How can Whip1 and Hilly see the game so differently? They're always going in like the failed tower dive in game 3 from Whip1 and Hilly's just not working. Hilly always engaging no matter what, just not working. Don't you think it would be right time to make some changes? There are good players in Europe on every position. Fnatic might need a fresh start. Good luck. I still believe in you as a coach. Sadly, my confidence on players are not at the highest because no matter who else play with them, they do the same thing over and over again. Well, let's have some contrast, right? These same players, Hilly, Whipple, went to the World Finals 2018, right? 2019 was the signing of Nemesis, right? And I believe they went on to the World Championship with one Hilly. They went on to the World Championship. They beat RNG, right? And then they lost to FPX, right? They lost to FPX. So this was that year. Like they lost 3-2 against G2. And it was some close series, right? Because that's something that, you know, you lose faith in. Same thing 2020, right? There was some ups and downs, but they managed to fix things come playoffs. They beat Rogue. The same players that you don't have faith in, right? So that element of their ceiling is there. I have seen it, and I've seen it in the days that I've been working with them. And the same thing, you know, it's a rare occasion where the players have even shown their ceiling publicly, right? In games. Because sometimes I've had to have this conversation about players that folk don't believe in, but they don't have anything to show for. So it makes the conversation a little bit trickier, but it doesn't really alter my faith in them. They have a very, very high ceiling. And when you have a very high ceiling, you know, the difference between things working and things not working, the line is very delicate. And both sides of the line, there is beauty and atrocity. In a world where maybe the dive was a little bit different and things maybe clicked a little bit different, maybe Corki would have died and no one would have batted an eye. But the atrocity, you know, it's like a car crash. It's hard to look away because it's so enticing, right? So I ask you, you know, like, to have faith. And it was tricky, you know, this split was ugly. But by the time summer comes and we get things rolling again, I'm sure these moments will be forgotten. I think it was just, there's always like a fine line. It's so very thin, you know, the difference between things working and not working. And I believe that's where we were, you know. There was just, we failed to build up the backbone, you know. What do we fall back on? Like, what are our patterns to win the game? And that's something that I, as a coach, strongly believe in, and it was a part of, in the previous question, something that, you know, I mentioned that I've lost when it comes to myself. Diddy47, you doing all right with the loss or no? Well, in the beginning, you know, I was in my regular, you know, like, there is a moment of despair and pain, but I blame myself. And I've always blamed myself for almost anything in life. Because blaming myself is what allows me to take extreme ownership of the situation. As a head coach, I believe that's necessary. So in that process of blaming myself, first it might be heavy, but then it turns into hope. Because when you blame yourself, or when I blame myself, I begin to think of solutions. I think of what I can do next. I want to progress. I want to move forward. So in that blame is also motivation. There's also fuel. So now I am excited for what to come. I feel invigorated. I feel energetic. I am working on things that are going to help the team, and we are actively using this off-season to prepare ourselves in a way that we didn't do in December. We are, honestly, I'm so excited. I feel pretty good now, you know? I feel pretty good. I am Batman for 1-2. I believe your guys will step up for this summer and surprise everyone. What do you think the team can learn from this series in order to come back strong? I don't think it's necessarily tied to the series, because the series that you play, the final best of 5, is just a, you know, image of your whole split, right? The last best of 5 always showcases what you were doing and your flaws throughout the whole split. Schalke had a very, structured approach to how they gained advantages and how they win games. They had a clear path, which goes a long way, and honestly, they could have just waited for us to overreach and then strike, right? And that's pretty much how the series played out. So our weaknesses and our strengths were showcased, and Schalke got to use them, right? So it's just a product of the whole split. So what can you learn from the series? It's like, what can you learn from the split that is more significant, right? And there's a lot to learn. It's a very wide question. There's super much to learn. There's like so much information we can use now to prepare for summer, and that is golden, very golden. I am excited to bite into it. I'm already chewing it. Honestly, I already bit into it, and we have about 2 months, and that feels perfect. It feels good. One of the which there have been several changes to the org over the winter break. That 0-3 is disappointing, but not surprising when you look at the split. What are you most proud of this split? I am proud of the relationships. Outside of game, we were still very happy with each other, and we managed to have fun together. And this is something that I care about and I find very important. And I think that is going to help us deal with some of the problems that we have to deal with. And I'm happy about that. Abbedagge, with G2 also being challenged by more teams than last year, would you say the overall top 4 has gotten remarkably better, or G2 taking a step back? I think sometimes it's tricky to underestimate how much a player can, how much impact they can have on a dynamic. In the instance of G2, sometimes you take for granted, we change one player and then, we're going to just do the things that always worked. And sometimes changing one player can change the dynamic, and you need to refine yourself again. And I think in our case as well, there was the expectation that we can, work from 3 of the players where they left off. And that was also, the dynamic shifted too heavily for us. So we needed to relearn what our basics are. And this is something that can occur with only the change of one player. And I think G2 and us have very powerful rosters on paper. And I think it's just a matter of time. If the motivation is there, I think both the G2 and us will, bounce back pretty hard. And I think the other teams playing so well, Mad Lions and Rogue, will only be a motivator for all of us. Axelman 9000 asks, was it difficult to adapt back to playing on stage after playing from home, the gaming house, for the split? Well, it was more difficult for me to adapt to playing from the gaming house, because it was quite ridiculous. I couldn't listen to my players, I couldn't watch my players. We got to watch a stream that was about 6 minutes delay or something like that. It was a big delay, so I had no idea about the emotional state of mind of my players, how they were interacting, how they were. I just had to look at the little webcam and judge from that. I didn't even know when I can enter the room. I didn't know if we won, I don't know if we lost. It was very strange, unless the game was really obvious from the point of view that I saw. Then I didn't know, because I need to be the emotional support for the team, whether it's positive or strong, or there's a moment of weakness for us, or there's a moment of emotion. I need to hedge myself in a way where I'm ready, right? I need to be there for them, and this has been terrible, absolutely terrible. Back in Korea, we played on stage. I played one best of 3. And the way Korea handled it was way better than LEC handled it. We had staff on site. I got to watch it live. We had referees on site. And I understand it's much more difficult than best of ones, of course. Best of ones makes it trickier. But that sense of quality that LCK brought to the table, and the sense of competitive integrity, really went a long way to cement the idea that this is, real. Because it felt very awkward for me, especially best of ones, I do the draft and then I walk out of the room, and then I'm like, what the fuck am I? it's just hard to take it. Was difficult for me to take it serious. You know, it was very hard because I couldn't connect with the players. Could barely watch the game. I couldn't hear them. It was just, I didn't like it. You know. Meme Gober asks, how's Upset doing? I just met him actually. We had some shiso burgers, which is like Asian fusion burgers. It's like, you know, with kimchi, bulgogi, with a bunch of good stuff. AB burger, oh, delicious. I'm getting hungry again. And it's safe to say he's doing fine. Me and him were talking about how we're gonna improve things, and we're both very, very motivated. Me and him, I feel like we work well together because we feed off of each other's energy, and I feel like often before we even start talking, we find ourselves thinking the same thing. Can you play Smoke on the Water on the E string? All right. Smoke on the water, fire in the sky. Let me remember how to play it for a second. Let me remember. Wow. Next question. Let me read it. Do you hope for a large change in the meta before summer? No, I don't really care. I like the meta. We'll figure it out. I don't think our process of determining draft can have some adjustment, because you know, like how you communicate information is important. I think the importance of our understanding between one another is definitely something that we can work on, and I don't mind whatever meta we're gonna be in. Obviously, I like it when my players, you know, excel in a meta. You know, it's like, oh, Evelyn is the best jungler in the game. Oh, nice. Not Jesper says, T1's Danny, I don't know how to say his name, sorry, said he wanted to prove that coach diff exists and that the head coach is sometimes more important than the players. Is this something you agree with? How important is the head coach to team success? Well, yeah, it depends on how much responsibility you want to take in a situation, but I think it's very bad to have the mindset that you want to prove that coach diff exists, because as a coach, you need to bench your ego at the door. You know, some situations require you to take a back seat and just ask the right questions to invoke the right conversation and the right solutions. And sometimes you need to take, you know, bigger responsibility for the situation, but to actively prove that head coaches deserve more credit, I think is a very, very bad mindset. It's a part of how esports works, right? The public really, really enjoys big personalities. They like toxicity, they like banter, right? But these are qualities that cannot be a part of a team sphere and definitely cannot come from a head coach or a coach at all. This is vital to understand. How important is the head coach team to the team success? I would say very important. I think every role is important. I, as a head coach, I see myself responsible for everyone on the team and also for you know, the entire operation. Any failure is on the head coach's head, but any of the praise, just send it to the players, you know? I think that's the way. GD Chocolates. Favorite team ever? Favorite team ever? IG 2018. Favorite player ever? The Shy Rookie. Favorite player to work with? Present team included, if you come to with answering that. Honestly, I really cherish the relationship I have with Kabushad and Jizuke. I think we were a trio that worked super, super well. And that dynamic is something that I try to that I'm gonna try to recreate. You know, I think that's important to have people that you can push as leaders within the game, and you know, I'm enjoying super much to play with my present team too. I care for them. I have love for them. I genuinely love my players, because I think if you don't, you're not. I just, it's weird. I don't see how you can be committed to someone without a sense of love and care, you know? And I think that commitment is important. It's like, I believe in you, you believe in me. Let's fucking, you know, conquer the world. Siusiacek. Minus 27 comment karma. Why this team has more than 5% chance to be top 4 next split? Exclude upset 1v9. I believe we have a lot of player quality, and I believe I'm in the right mind to perform at a level that I believe I can perform at as a active head coach. And I think sometimes from outside it's hard to see, you know, what exactly went wrong. Did you see the final product? But there's many steps along the way, and I believe in the team. And if you don't, then I'll happily prove you wrong. Blackout Blind. How do you feel about criticism from people like LS, Nemesis, I will dominate, etc. about drafts and playstyle? Well, I don't feel a thing. I understand their position that, you know, they are making content and they are sharing their opinion, and they are in every right able to do so. And that's not something that I can follow along. I can't. These guys put out thousands of hours of content, and it's not something that I can follow or even comment on, right? It's the same with this whole conversation that occurred with LS and Catrol about Renekton. It's like, oh, you need to state your opinion about Renekton publicly, but, you know, it's not like you can't come through so much content. It's impossible. It's like implying that he didn't say or didn't say that. It's just, you know, if they had a conversation with me, LS, Nemesis, and I would dominate, then it would be different, right? Because it would be a conversation. And this is one thing that I don't like about the community, is when they try to parrot a single sentence and they try to make it seem like that embodies the opinion of the other party. Like, oh, Nemesis said this. And it's like, you know, to react to that is nonsense, because it's not a real conversation, right? So they can say as they want to say. They are smart guys, but I'm not gonna sit around and listen to it, you know? They're doing it to share their opinion, and they're in every right to do so, and it works for them. They're very successful around it. That's their thing. My thing is to compete and put myself out there, and I understand that with that comes that you just, everything you do is put under a very, very, you know, big lens, you know, under a microscope. And that's okay. Completely okay. Forgot my username XD. What's the thought behind drafting Lee Sin in your series? Is there something teams analysts are missing about the champion? Well, in that game, you know, Lee Sin's clear speed, like Lee Sin's big issue is his first clear. Like, it's relatively slow by the time you finish 4 camps. You know, it's, I mean, by the time you finish level 4, the most junglers, like if you're playing against Udyr, it's impossible. Like, a lot of jungler champs that need to do 5 camps into Crab will lose out against some of the quicker junglers, right? Because they'll be level 4 and they'll be able to fight you, and that's rough. And can be, you know, lead to enemy getting double Crab, and then that tempo advantage can swing into something bigger. But if you look at that game that we played, right? Lee Sin was in very good conditions. We even managed to find a kill, right? We managed to find a kill for Lee on bottom side. We killed Xayah, she had no sums. The big issue in that game, where Lee Sin, you know, fell behind, was Volibear, with his ability to clear faster. He managed to find the gank on top, killed Cho'Gath, which impacts the Cho'Gath against GP lane a lot, which was very good of Schalke to find. But if you get over that hump without any significant losses, Lee Sin can begin to show up. Like, Lee Sin kick is a powerful tool against a lot of champs, and we had success with Lee Sin in practice. And this was the price we were willing to pay, with us picking champions that we consider stronger, 1, 2, 3, in answer against specifically Volibear, and sometimes the information you get in scrims and in solo queue doesn't translate too well, but I don't think the issue in the game that we lost was necessarily Lee Sin, because he did in fact get over his weakness. Then there was a 3v3 on top side that we lost, even 4v3 on top side that we lost very, very hard, and after that the game was over because GP got like a triple kill and it was a disaster. Imagine in a different world where Cho'Gath gets his base off there and he doesn't get cancelled and Volibear doesn't go. Things might have looked very different, but I don't believe in the notion that Lee Sin was the issue of that game. Sure, maybe there was a different champion that we could have picked that would have been better, but I need to take into consideration as well, I like Lee Sin together with Rel, it's a good combination. I like Lee Sin together with Twisted Fate, also good combination. Hard CC into Lee, and also with a tank on top side, it also functions well, right? And this is something we had success with, and just because people don't see Lee Sin often, they're going to be critical of it, and that's fine, maybe there's something better to pick there, but not every player in the world plays every champion, right? And that felt right for us in that moment, and if I prepared another week for a different best of 5, then maybe it would have looked different, But we had good success with Lee Sin. Honestly, we had really good success, and we knew the weakness and we knew the strength of it, and it felt right for us. If I look back at it in hindsight, the easy way would just be to make sure that you pick jungle 1, 2, 3 if you want to have one of the OP chem tank junglers. I think that's a good place to end it. Thank you so much for asking your questions. I hope that I've given you guys something to chew on in this off-season. Once again, leave your questions in the subreddit and I'll hopefully answer them in the next one. Sorry that this one took a while. I couldn't find a way to upload it because my internet was under siege, and my girlfriend was playing a lot of League in the evening, so I couldn't find the time to upload it. And now hopefully, it'll be fine. So all the best to all of you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. And if you sneeze during this video, bless you and bless your face, mother.